Yo, it's a great idea, yo. And I've never seen a show like that, so I'm not sure if they just canceled the whole thing or. At first, I was thinking, oh, they probably pitched it to somebody else and gave the host position to someone else. But I've never seen a show like that come out, and like, I don't know.
Fuck
Great.
them, let's do our own. You got the camera crew. You already said they wanted to do a music thing.
Yeah, but Viceland, you know, they can pull in fucking J. Cole's and Kendricks and niggas like that. The fucking Gorillas and Thundercat. Like, we ain't gonna be able to reach out to these motherfuckers.
Yo, I seen that and was like, whoa!
Main thing I need to do today is at least, even if I don't start that truck, I need to put air in that tire because that shit is so flat to the ground, it's gonna fuck up the tire where if I do put air in it, it ain't gonna be right. It'll be all warped and shit from sitting like that so long. So at least I can do that. That'll be one thing. I watched this one Insta reel where some chick goes up to an escalator at the mall, and she just has like one of those Clorox like wet nap things in her hand, and she just walks up and just puts it on the little hand part and let it like roll underneath
And it was
her.
filthy.
And she pulled that shit back. It was so black. I'm like, damn, yo. Every time I get on the escalator, I be holding that shit. I know better next time. Don't touch that shit.
Hard not to. It's a force of habit.
Yeah. That shit got COVID on it. I can't believe my crochet needle fell like perfectly in that little fucking hole. Like, you son of a bitch. Software update available. Must be good now. That should take 10 minutes sometimes. Yo, good morning. Yep. You updated your stuff recently? You had updates for your iStuff?
Um,
My iPad just had an update on it, and I think I updated my phone this week too.
yeah, I updated my phone a couple weeks ago. Maybe like a week and a half ago or something, but I haven't updated my watch. I didn't update my iPad. Unless I just did it automatically. Because that's how my stuff is set up. Look at this. Maurice's iPhone, Maurice's Apple Watch, Maurice's iPad.
Damn.
My old iPhone, I gotta take that off.
Booking.com helps you find and book just what you want. Find your perfect place to stay. Booking.com, yeah.
Broadly thinking, because we tend to think other alien civilizations would be very human-like, but if we think of alien civilizations out there as basically generators of black holes, however they do it, because they think of stars, do you think there's a lot of them in our particular universe out there?
In our universe?
Well, okay, let me ask, okay, this is great. Let me ask a very generic question,
Now too,
and then
I guess because I got the subscription.
Use what?
Like this music plan that we have, that's expensive as fuck, but it's for all of us. And then I can share my Apple Fitness, and like there's a couple other things that I get with my new shit that y'all can have.
I don't know what
Nah, it's dope because it tracks like how long you stand. It tracks your steps for the day. Like,
that's from your watch.
From your watch or from your phone too.
Normally I don't have my phone. It's just on my desk a lot. It's just down a lot.
It's definitely better with the watch because I noticed today I didn't have my watch on and I'm like, damn, I'm missing all my action.
That's right.
But
Which
no,
is,
their fitness stuff is actually not bad. You would think it would be, but it's not.
Many alien civilizations are out there.
Apple Arcade.
If
Apple
the hypothesis that I just described is on the right track,
Yes.
it would mean that the parameters of our universe have been selected so that intelligent civilizations will occur in sufficient numbers so that if they reach something like supreme technological maturity, let's define that as the ability to produce black holes, then that's not a highly improbable event. It doesn't need to happen often because, as I just described, if you get one of them in a galaxy, you're going to make more black holes than the stars in that galaxy. But there's also not a super strong motivation. Well, it's not obvious that you need them to be ubiquitous throughout the galaxy.
Right.
So one of the things that I try to emphasize in that paper is that given this idea of how our parameters might have been selected, it's clear that it's a series of trade-offs, right? If you make, in order for intelligent life of our variety or anything resembling us to occur, you need a bunch of stuff. You need stars, so that's right back to Smolin's roots of this idea. But you also need water to have certain properties. You need things like the rocky planets like the Earth to be within the habitable zone. All these things that you start talking about in the field of astrobiology, trying to understand life in the universe. But you can't overemphasize, you can't tune the parameters so precisely to maximize the number of stars or to give water exactly the properties or to make rocky planets like Earth the most numerous. You have to compromise on all these things. And so I think the way to test this idea is to look at what parameters are necessary for each of these different subsystems, and I've laid out a few that I think are promising. There could be countless others, and see how changing the parameters makes it more or less likely that stars would form and have long lifetimes, or that rocky planets in the habitable zone are likely to form. All these different things. So we can test how much these things are in a tug of war with each other. And the prediction would be that we kind of sit at this central point where if you move the parameters too much, stars aren't stable, or life doesn't form, or technology is infeasible. Because life alone, at least the kind of life that we know of, cannot make black holes. We don't have this. Well, I'm speaking for myself. You're a very fit, strong person, but it might be possible for you, but not for me to compress matter. So we need these technologies, but we don't know. We have not been able to quantify yet how finely adjusted the parameters would need to be in order for silicon to have the properties it does. Okay, this is not directly speaking to what you're saying. You're getting to the Fermi paradox, which is where are they? Where are the life forms out there? How numerous are they? That sort of thing. What I'm trying to argue is that if this framework is on the right track of potentially correct explanation for our existence, it doesn't necessarily predict that intelligent civilizations are just everywhere. Because even if you just get one of them in a galaxy, which is quite rare, it could be enough to dramatically increase the fecundity of the universe as a whole.
Yeah, and I wonder, once you start generating the offspring for universes, black holes, how that has effect on what kind of effect does it have on the other candidates, civilizations within that universe? Maybe it has a destructive aspect, or there could be some arguments about once you have a lot of offspring that just quickly accelerates to where the other ones can't even catch up.
It could, but I guess if you want me to put my chips on the table or whatever, I think I come down more on the side that intelligent life civilizations are rare. And I guess I follow Max Tegmark here. And also, there's a lot of papers coming out recently in the field of astrobiology that are seeming to say, all right, you just work through the numbers on some modified Drake equation or something like that, and it looks like
this bitch trying to talk a fucking koala. It's about to fuck her day up, and I am about it. Hey! Get him! Get him!
On the new.
That.
Stupid.
Girls kiss other girls, and no one bats an eye. But when I kiss my homies goodnight, society calls me dead. Girls kiss other girls. I'm in the building hustling, and I swear I'm getting money. Like, and you pull up, Lexus, they got their jewels on. He's like, what you doing over here? I'm getting money, man. You kidding me? I'm in the building. This is my strip. This is what it is. And this is my building where we live at. So he like, word, let me see what you got. So, my little stupid self, like, let me go up on the stid ass show. Boy, we got pack. We got G-packs out here. What up? We chewing over here. He threw my pack in the incinerator. Like this, yo, man, let me catch you hustling in the bill. So now I'm like, wait a minute. That's a G-pack, fam. Like, we just threw $1,000 away. Like, gave me $2,000 and was like, yo, man, ain't for you, man. I see bigger things in you. I'm in the building hustling.
Hey, where are you going? I was terrified. Yeah, well, at least your soul was going upwards. At least your soul was going upwards.
Right, see some big fool.
Yo, the internet is funny as shit.
Don't look outside and I'm already upset, yo. It looked about 102. It's Saturday and Biggie ain't got nothing to do. I'm interrupted by a phone ring. Sometimes I wish I never got the motherfucking thing. Hello, can I speak to Biggie? Yo, who this? Tanisha, your call back, I'm busy. Why don't you hit me on the...
I wrote it.
So you're an artist? Yeah. Are you good at it?
Summertime be like.
What the
dumbasses down there. And that stupid ass straw hat gonna make it different. Oh, look who decided to come outside. Look, bro, not today, alright? I don't have time for your shit today, bro. Shut your dumb ass up. I'm about to fire you up. Oh, your Gotti shaped head looking ass boy. Oh, I got a big head, little arms ass boy. Nah, I ain't done. You hot? Hey, take your shirt off, that ass. Damn, you okay? Take your shirt off. I get it. Bro, I know you ain't about to cry. Well, that's why your dumb ass gotta go to bed at 8 o'clock. Why you popping shit? At least I can stay up all night. Got me hot as fuck out here, dude.
Summertime.
Blackness.
I just put this.
Like stupid.
I just put this switch.
You heard of the Flintstones theory?
No.
Okay, so I saw a video by Channel Frederator, and there's a theory that the Flintstones and the Jetsons both live in a post-apocalyptic future.
How does that work?
So both shows were actually created by the same creators and created during the Cold War. So the theory is that the shows take place in a world where nukes bomb the entire Earth and cause society to reset. And it makes sense because in the Flintstones we see them using money, they watch TV, they use record players, they even celebrate Christmas. But how would they do that if they're supposed to be living in a prehistoric time?
Wait, so what about the Jetsons?
Okay, so you would think the Jetsons live in the distant future, but they actually live in the same time and world as the Flintstones. And it would make sense because Orbit City, which is above Earth's surface. So the theory is that the Jetsons live in Orbit City while the Earth recovers. And all the people that live in Orbit City are just the rich people that didn't want to live in Bedrock City.
This theory is trippy.
Have you heard of the Flintstones theory?
No.
Okay, so I saw a video by Channel Frederator, and there's a theory that the Flintstones and the Jetsons both live in a post-apocalyptic future.
How does that work?
So both shows were actually created by the same creators and created during the Cold War. So the theory is that
because the real boss don't ever want to be seen.
Exactly.
And that's what people gotta understand. So the big man, he never want to be seen. We still in the mentality we want to be seen.
Yep.
We want people to know we the man.
Quite a lot of stuff going on here. There will be times in life where you crank that soldier boy, and there will be other times.
No, man, but you gotta keep going. What am I gonna do, quit? That's not an option. You gotta keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it, you make it work for you. No, man, but you gotta keep
Footprints in the sands. Footprints in the sands. But then you turn. Footprints in the sands. But then you turn around and see another set. Because Jesus was with you all along.
My name's Amy.
Alright, so this is our second try at the...
You know what I noticed about some women is that some women expect for a man.
1.5% of the country are feeding 330.
I cried when you passed away.
Shake it.
I'm mad at you.
I was just cleaning 50 tinsels. I noticed my gym rival stand next to me. I was just cleaning 50 tinsels. I noticed my gym rival stand next to me. I was just cleaning 50 tinsels. I noticed my gym rival stand next to me.
When you go to the beach with me, when you go to the beach with me,
my brother thought he was drunk from drinking apple cider, and then this happened. They had to read the bottle. Bro was passed out from apple cider. My brother...
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Looking like the song catch
watching up from lately. And a couple.
Jordan has a very specific vision.
Yep.
Out.
Alright. Maybe I should paint something. What up, though? Running in the studio, working on some music, yeah. this part. Oh my god. man. The GarageBand, this shit is free and easy. So this ain't got no name to it yet. It's just called My Song. Like if you don't name it, it'll just say that. Like you can see, I got beats. Most of them corny, but hey, it's still something to do when you bored. When you bored and want to be creative and ain't got nothing else to do. There's always something you can do. Man, I missed so many comments this morning. It's all good. My bad, guys. So, I don't know. Yo. My maid bad. What's good, bro? I was working on this one yesterday. I think I'm gonna, I don't need that. I don't need that. Mr. Mac. Mr. Mac, what's good, bro? Shit in the studio working on these things right here, man. Got a bunch of self-portraits I'm working on. This is it's gonna be a big series, man. Let me see something. So this next series is all about coming out of dark places, trying to come into your light, trying to get into a better mental state, a better physical state, however you want to look at it, you know, but it's coming out of a bad place into a good place. Sometimes motherfuckers feel like we just trapped in dark ass holes, you know what I'm saying, endless pits. Like you gotta claw your way out of the pit. No matter how hard the struggle, you know what I'm saying? And release yourself from this blackness. And then you can walk in the light in your true manifestation. You know what I'm saying? And so the canvases get bigger as they go too. So I know it's kind of hard to tell like how big this shit is, but like if I'm standing next to it, this is not like a little canvas. Half as tall as I am. But yeah, it's all just about putting yourself in a better place. You know what I'm saying? Most times, not unless you super duper lucky, you know what I'm saying? Most times people just, shit don't always go right every time, you know what I'm saying? And life will get you in spots where you feel like there's no real way out. And you're always surrounded by this darkness. You know what I'm saying? It could be depression, anxiety, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But some motherfuckers like to stay in that shit. Some motherfuckers like being in dark spots. I don't like that shit. I'm always trying to reinvent myself. Always trying to pull myself to a brighter situation. So this is kind of a representation of that. Been doing a lot of nude and abstract backgrounds. It's kind of my thing now. Yo, what up, YouTube? I'll be right back, guys. Hey, jump on the Instagram if y'all got the So I got a bunch of pieces that go along with this same theme. Because I feel like it takes people so long to find out their right path in life. You know what I'm saying? Find out what they're passionate about. Motherfucker just go with the flow too much sometimes instead of trying to direct the flow to get the way you really want to be. He said, I ain't got Instagram or Twitter or Bookface or none of that shit. I feel you, bro. D1, my day one. Me and D1 been kicking it for 7 years. Yeah, that shit crazy. Yo, Sketch, appreciate it. But yeah, my girlfriend says it looks like I'm taking a massive dump. I'm like, thanks, babe. That's exactly what I was going for. But I'm just trying to show like the pressure and the struggle. Like that shit is not easy. You really gotta strain with this shit sometimes. You really gotta put effort into that shit sometimes. If you're trying to be in a different place in your life and you're trying to like change your circumstances or your situations, that shit don't always come easy. And like I say, there's a little bit of motherfucking stress you gotta go through. You gotta apply that pressure sometimes, you know what I'm saying, and use your force and move with your might. And that shit ain't always pretty. When you put that pressure on, that shit don't be pretty all the time. You know what I'm saying? But everything in life ain't pretty. You gotta make it that way. You gotta make it look the way you want it to be. If I can make it through the night, there's a brighter day. Oh man. So since the living room days, you already know. No, hey, very, 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 very few people remember them days. Very few. Nobody don't know the living room days, nigga. I went from a living room to a small room to a whole floor. Now I got this whole floor is mine. Fuck that. Oh, fuck it. Hey, and that's that change I be talking about. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go through the struggle, make that shit better for yourself. And that shit don't be pretty all the time. Sometimes it's a little bit of a struggle. Sometimes you gotta put that muscle in. You know what I'm saying? But if you wanna goddamn get somewhere different, if you wanna see your whole situation change from a darker place to a lighter place, just like this series is trying to portray. You gotta come out that little dark ass hole, man. Climb your ass out that shit. But I can't. Oh man. The person who says he can't and the person who says he can, they are both right. Oh, I need some help. Hey man, bruh. Well, if ain't nobody there to help you, then what you gonna do? Hey, you better push that. You better push down. And pull up. You better pull up. Push down. Kick. Whatever. Shit. Bite and claw, nigga. Bite and claw. What's good? What's good? Cause I mean, they gonna be help along the way. You gotta ask for help. You know what I'm saying? Closed mouth don't get fed. But if you do for yourself, other people won't mind helping you along your way, especially if they're further along in their journey and they see that you're actually striving to do something positive. People will help, but they ain't gonna be there all the time. help ain't gonna be there all the time. Simple as that. Most of the time, you gotta do that shit yourself, bro. You gotta do it. You gotta do that your damn self. And then, like I said, once people see you trying to do hard for yourself, hey, they might toss you a little bone every now and again. A little word of encouragement, a little piece of goddamn little gem. You know what I'm saying? Drop some game on you or something, or kind of lead you in the right direction. But that ain't gonna be all the time. Instagram. I'm currently live on YouTube. You guys live on there. You guys want to stick around for a little while, man, and chill in the studio with your boy. I ain't doing shit, man. Literally, I'm talking shit, making beats, and painting. You know what I'm saying? I'm just chilling. I'm chilling as hard as I can right now. But if you guys notice, I never saved my my Instagram. I don't need to put that up. I never saved my Instagram lives for the most part. I do that shit every once in a while, but that's because I like being in the moment. Now I save all of my YouTube videos so people can go back and watch them. But if you're not in the moment on the Instagram, you might not never see this shit ever. You won't never. Nobody else will never ever see this shit. Nobody else will never get to examine the conversations we had right here. So I always do advise people, man, go to the YouTube channel, cause we been here doing the same shit, chilling all the time. I'm trying to find that one beat, Joe Byron. Let's go, Brandon. Yo, don't hate me for that. Joe Byron, and you ain't black. If you have a hard time figuring out if you're gonna vote for me or the other guy, then you ain't black. Y'all remember he said that? That shit was funny as hell to me. My man said he got some new news. Let me see. Yo, what up, guys? Okay, all right. No, what's going on? Oh man, my shit buffering. Yo, that's a beat from my homie. Just told me to check his Joan out on the Joan. You know what I'm saying? She was fucking whamming just now. I don't know why my YouTube buffering like hell. Man, hey yo, D wanted the beat been whamming, boy. Damn. Yeah, I literally just replaced my router too because being on the 3rd floor, my Wi-Fi signal is kind of shitty. And I got a new, better router, yo, and that shit still be buffering like a little bitch, yo. Tired of this mess. I'll finish that up later on, D. Damn, I had some bars floating around in my head too for that shit. Alright, Instagram art enthusiasts, I'm sitting here applying the 3rd layer of paint to this painting. So this is like my standard skin tone palette. Got some dark browns, some dark reds, some dark yellows, some lighter yellows, some white, some orange. So you can see the 2nd layer of skin tone doesn't look bad, but it's still pretty blocky and undefined. So we're gonna start adding these final tones Still got a little bit more to do on the face as well. Get some highlights in there. And then we're going to detail the hair at the end. The background is basically done, so I won't be touching the background anymore. Backgrounds are so deep and complicated that I wanted to finish these first before I actually started working on the portraits, because if I got all the portrait done and finalized, I would have inevitably messed up the portrait portion with the background, because I used a heavy knife technique and a lot of blending, and that would have definitely overlapped a lot in a lot of areas. And so that's why I tried to just go ahead and finish off the backgrounds initially. And now, man, I love little areas like that. That is so hot to me, yo. I like that. Yeah, so now I'll just work on the skin tones. Yo, MJ1 a day. Appreciate it, bro. So I did apply some heavy brushes of oils on there, so we're going to slowly blend these in. I normally start in the lighter areas and then blend outwards toward the shadows or the darker areas. And just do it little by little as you go along. So that'd be something like that. Yeah, now you can see a deeper, more like a deeper, fuller tone in the skin tones. And so this is why I work in layers. If you can just slowly build it up layer over layer, you'll get that more lush, transparent quality to the paint, because the skin is very luminous, and that's why if it's dark and you have a bright enough bulb and you shine it through your hand, you can like see the light through your hand, you can see light through your eyelids. We can x-ray ourselves if the light is extremely intense. But so our skin is very luminous. And so what you're trying to do is apply, in some instances, thick layers, in some instances, thinner layers of the oils, so that you can kind of see the layer beneath it. And so we start out as dark as we possibly can and slowly build our midtones and our highlights over the darks, but you can still see that translucent quality of the oil paints, where the former layers of paint kind of shine through just enough to give you that the three-dimensional effect for a lack of a better term. Yo, 23, yo. Thank you, man. And like I said, this is a part of a larger series. This is the second canvas in a 4-part series. So we're just gonna continue to work on this arm and kind of work our way like down and across, I guess. Bro, I'm still mad my YouTube won't connect so I can finish listening to that John. That's so terrible. Nope. And there's something about it's my tablet. Like I can listen to the YouTube from my phone. I be trying to listen to it from the tablet. Oh, no, back to the beats. This right here is one of my jammy jams, yo. I ain't even gonna lie, yo. It got some decent breakdowns in it. Got some horns in there. That little bass line hitting it, yo. I like this one. No problem. What's up, guys? Instagram feed. So, we're live on YouTube as well. If you guys have never stopped by my YouTube channel, now would be an excellent time. Shoot over to the YouTube channel and check it out. Just got a different camera, so it's a bit of a wider shot than the iPhone camera. And I'll be in the studio for the next couple hours or so, trying to flesh out this this last layer of paint right here. Actually running through these canvases quicker than I thought I would. I've been meaning to try to set up some photo shoots for my next series, which is going to be like a simple fashion series that I want to do, and just catching people with whatever they like to wear, basically. You know, people like, oh, I'm not an artist, I can barely draw a stick figure. Well, you do dress yourself, right? You do go shopping and pick out your own clothes. That's being creative. Unless you're just like, you know, that guy who wears those, you know, those New Balances, those granddad New Balance sneakers. Like, if you wear those and like plaid all the time, I get it. Like, but I do got some homies who got some fucking killer ass fashion sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of my homies, when they dress, motherfuckers look like they need to be on a runway somewhere. And I find that sense of creativity amazing in how people decide to present themselves in the world and in society, because we're visual creatures. That's why our eyes are at the front of our face, and we experience the world in a very visual way. So by using your attire to express yourself as an individual is a very powerful artistic statement. And so I don't want to dress any models. I don't want to make any kind of suggestions or anything. I just want you to throw on some fly shit that you feel comfortable in, that you think is hot, and photograph you in that, you know? And then I'll paint those images of people using their creative expression to represent who they are. My fashion is like kind of plain Jane. I ain't gonna lie, yo. My fashion, I wear shit that I can wear for 10 years, you know? And I'm lucky to be like from that generation that has like unchanging fashion. I'm born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s. Like, 90s fashion is still here. Like, the way we dressed in the 90s, like, you can kind of still do that shit and it looks cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, we started the baggy jeans shit. Motherfuckers still wear baggy jeans. Motherfuckers went to wearing skinny jeans and then they sagged their skinny jeans. It's just like, you're corrupting the fashion, bro. But our Joan was like, you know, fucking printed tees, logo tees, you know, graphic tees and jeans, and fucking certain kind of Nikes, cause we still rocking Air Force Ones. Motherfuckers still rock Timberlands and all that 90s shit, yo. Like, it never went nowhere. It's still here. So I can just wear like not skinny but like some fitted jeans and fucking a graphic tee and a baseball cap and some fucking dope ass Nikes or some Chuck Taylors, and I'm Gucci, nigga. Like, I'm still Gucci. Been wearing this shit since high school. You know why? Because our fashion was like, I don't know, we made a staple where our fashion can just like transcend time. It just, transcends time and space, yo. And then like even the Zoomers and all these motherfuckers, our fashion and the flat tops keep coming around all the time, and like I say, motherfuckers is walking around with Nirvana t-shirts and motherfucking Public Enemy t-shirts. Like, nigga, that shit was 30 years ago. And like them Nirvana t-shirts be everywhere. Kids don't even know who the fuck Nirvana is. They just got on the Nirvana t rocking the fucking Green Day t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like our shit was so dope. It was the best. I feel kind of biased, but I still say like the 80s and the 90s, the early 2000s were like some of the golden years. Listen, I wear black on black every day, sometimes blue. Yo, Mark, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I got a couple pair of like skinny jeans. I got some skinny jeans. I even got like I work in the office, so I wear slacks a lot, but I got some really like fitted slacks. But hey, man, that's just cause I like that shit. I don't know. I like wearing fitted pants sometimes. I remember way back in the day, yo, when I used to like not bodyguard. I guess you could say bodyguard, but I was like the doorman for like this little venue that hosted like death metal and heavy metal concerts and shit. And so one night, one of the bands was coming in, and they performed there before, so I knew a couple of the band members. And that's when I used to wear like really saggy fucking jeans. I'm wearing like a size. I got on some 36 or 38 in the waist jeans. No, my waist ain't nothing but a 30. I got 6 extra inches going around my waist, just fabric, like super baggy pants. And one of the guys from the band, I think he was the drummer. He's like, man, why your pants so big, man? He's like, you gotta wear skinny jeans. He had on some tight ass leather pants, yo. He's like, you gotta wear some skinny pants like this so the women can see you smuggling plums. I'm like, smuggling? Oh, yo, that shit was so funny to me at that time, yo. Niggas say you gotta come in here smuggling plums. You gotta wear skinny jeans, man. Women like to see that shit, man. I'm like, never thought about it like that. But I don't know. I got one pair of like fitted pants, and they actually look. They feel comfortable. They, if they're not like super uber like fucking give you cancer, trying to give you testicular cancer tight. Like I said, I only got like two. I got like one pair of jeans like that and two pair of work slacks like that, and everything else got to be a little bit loose, man. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be a little bit loose. Yeah, but motherfuckers sagging skinny pants, like I don't understand that new fashion. And then real fat dudes. I ain't trying to hate on nobody or be biased to nobody or be prejudiced and none of that shit. But like real fat motherfuckers, man, y'all don't need to waste no skinny pants, bro. That shit be looking ridiculous. And then they be the main ones trying to sag. Like, bro, you shaped like a motherfucking jug of milk, for one. You shaped just like a jug of milk. And then you got on skinny pants. And then you sagging your skinny pants. Like, bro, we are in some weird paradox right now that should not even exist. You know, this should not be a thing in this universe. But somehow, product placements and advertisements have convinced these gentlemen that this is a fashionable look. And I would like to disagree wholeheartedly. Fat dudes sagging skinny jeans should never be seen. Ever. I'm also leaving my tattoos off. I've done this several times where I don't put my tattoos in my art. For one, I got all of my tattoos before, well, no, I was about to lie. I got most of my tattoos before I was like 19. I put most of them on myself at a young age. And now I just look back at them and be like, ah, you were so stupid. Why did you do that? And so not being embarrassed of them, because I don't cover them up. I'm not going to like get them covered, or I might get one of them covered. But I don't know, when it comes to my art, I think I'd just rather see myself natural, I guess. Like, without the ink and everything. Oh man, the skin. Working on skin tones. This is a fun part for me. I like this process, but there's hella colors, man. Try to get these skin tones right. Throw some beats back on in a minute. I swear, man. It's the worst, bro. It's the worst. And it's for me, it's like I feel embarrassed for these guys. Cause you're not embarrassed for yourself, and then it's just like, I can feel like this sense of embarrassment, like it emotionally is disturbing to me. I'm not saying like I'm an empath or anything like that, because that's a weird, I don't know, that's a whole weird thing, but I remember like back in the day when I used to watch like raunchy daytime TV, like Maury Povich and Jerry Springer and all that shit. When people got on there and they were like so visibly retarded, it's just like these people are the worst people. Like I felt so embarrassed that sometimes I couldn't even watch episodes of the show. It's just like, why would you even put yourself out there like that? Don't you feel shame and embarrassment? And then I would have to turn the channel. It's like, shit, like that shit rubbing off on me. That's how I feel with fat dudes who wear skinny pants and they sag their skinny jeans. I just feel like this huge weight of embarrassment. It's just like, My God. And then I always think of like black people as a collective, because normally we're judged that way. Like if one black person does one thing wrong, like it judges our entire community and race and ethnic group and everything. So it's like it's like, dude, you're making us look bad. My fucking God, you're making us look so bad right now. It's just like, can you please chill for a second, dude? Go put on some grown man pants and act like a fucking adult, dude. It's not. Oh man, that's nasty. I got it. You just feel the embarrassment. I can see now, like even like when I was a young buck and I was out there sagging my pants, and the old heads be like, "Put your fucking pants up." I was like, I didn't know like how embarrassed they were for me. You know, now you know. It's just like, dude, it's not just you, man. Like, come on. Can you do something about that, bro? Look at you. I get embarrassed for fat men in general. It's like, oh man, did I just rip that? I did. This is going to be messy from here on out. Oh, I just poked a hole in my tube of paint, so now every time I try to squeeze it, it's going to come out the top, but it's going to come out that hole as well. But yeah, just fat guys in general. Like now, like body shaming a woman is like a terrible thing to do, and you can't call women fat or ugly. And they have all these ad campaigns and everything to make like being like morbidly obese a beautiful thing. Like, oh, look at her, she's living her life, she's living her truth, and she doesn't have to conform to European standards of beauty. And it's like, I get that. And I don't like skinny women, honestly. I like my women to be, you know, voluptuous, but not morbidly obese. You know, like, not just like that fat bitch. You know the ones I'm talking about, with the big backs. They look like linebackers. They got all the weight on their back and underneath their neck, and their legs look like toothpicks. Them kind of women, like, come on, man, you got to do something. But then when it comes to men, like, men don't get no slack, yo. It's still okay to body shame a man. You can't say that a woman's fat, but it's cool to call a man fat, and you can't, and there's nothing he can do about it. And so, like with that double standard, now I just get ashamed for fat guys. Like, bro, you know, Planet Fitness is only $10 a month, man. You do know this, right? You do know, like, Brussels sprouts and asparagus taste good, man. You do know there is like whole YouTube channels dedicated to teaching you how to cook, so you don't gotta go to McDonald's every day and eat Burger King and Taco Bell every day and look the way you look. In our modern society, there's literally no reason to be. I mean, honestly, there has never been a reason to be fat. You know, early humans, we was hunter gatherers. We was still prey for bigger wild animals. Motherfuckers had to be lean and fit. You know what I'm saying? You got to be agile, nigga. You got to move out here in this wilderness if you want to live. You know, you couldn't be fat and lazy until like Middle Ages and shit, man. That shit come from like royalty, are the ones who said they were royalty after they gained so much control and power over groups of people. then they can sit back and gain weight because they ain't got to do shit now. They got walls and cities and shit. You know what I'm saying? They safe inside the cities, and they got serfs and all these other motherfuckers to do all the work for them. I can just sit back, fucking drink mead, and get fat. But all before that, man, motherfuckers, you can't be fat and live. Now society just so easy. It ain't even just the royal elite no more. Like, you got so much cool technology, you really ain't got to do shit. Man, motherfuckers got Uber Eats now. You ain't even got to leave your house to go get fatty food. You can just get that shit delivered right to you. MJ know what I'm talking about. And I understand some people have health conditions, thyroid issues, and glands and all other kind of shit. I feel you, man. And there are some like uh, genetic and epigenetic factors that go into metabolism and fat ratio and all this kind of things like that that I'm not well versed in because I'm not a fucking doctor. But I'm not a fucking moron either. So I know if you eat less and exercise more, there's a less likely chance that you'll be morbidly obese. And that's just simple. That's simple math. That's like 1 + 1 = 2. That ain't even like long division or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We not even trying to multiply fractions or nothing like that, man. It's just simple. 1 + 1 = 7. No, motherfucker, go get back on the treadmill. You fat fuck. Yeah, so I'm incorporating no tattoos in this piece. I think I'm gonna need some of this. I think I'm gonna need some of this. Something like that. You're getting close, man. You know what I'm saying? I can kind of feel it now. Getting close, man. I think I'm gonna end this Instagram stream. Got a bunch of views in here this morning. I'm thinking like more than I normally average. I've been here for a little while too. I've actually been on this Instagram stream for about 40 minutes. Well, normally I'll do like half of that, maybe 20 or 30 minutes sometimes, but yeah, really appreciative for everybody who even jumped into the Instagram stream because yeah, check out the arts. But I'm definitely gonna end the Instagram real quick, and I think I might run downstairs and get some snacks or something, and I'll be right back up. Finish out some of this YouTube shit. Thanks again, Instagram. Peace, motherfuckers. some leftover breakfast. Some leftover breakfast. I got his biscuits and bacon. Yeah. My girlfriend is on a phone call with somebody named Sherlock Holmes. Mr. Holmes? Yo, Sherlock Holmes, bro.
How do you know about them? Elementary, my dear Watson. This man has been dead for at least 2 hours. Moriarty isn't wasting any time.
It's okay, I'm fine. Now, show me to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It is a chemical defect found in the losing side.
So, she texted me this dude's name, and I said, it's elementary, my dear Watson. And she was like, what the fuck? So I just sent her the link from the old black and white film where he says it.
Ferreting genius, John. It needs Olympians. Get out. I need to go to my mind palace.
I think my husband might be having an affair.
Yes. I'm not a psychopath. It's time to press on. You wear a jacket. There's nothing of interest for me out there on Earth.
So you're free this evening?
Absolutely.
Dinner?
Wonderful.
The Royale?
My favorite.
Mary's coming.
Not available. Madam, I need you to remain calm. And trust me, I'm a professional. But beneath this pillow lies the key to my release. And chambermaids were once such a liberal breed.
Get that out of my face.
It's not in your face, it's in my hand.
Get what's in your hand out of my face.
Oh, Clarky! Meet.
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. You're watching Today I Found Out. And in the
Doctor Who. My
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
my uncle
5.
got me watching Doctor Who and this other show called White Dwarf.
Mind, student geek.
Finger on it, but there's something odd. There's something not quite right about the whole setup. One gets a nose for these things. 5 identical old world solicitors lying in identical positions across identical desks with identical daggers in their backs. It's not the sort of thing that could happen by accident. That would seem the obvious explanation. But why?
If only Holmes were here.
These deviled kidneys are uncommonly appetizing, Holmes.
The speciality of Mrs. Hudson's, Watson, homegrown by that very good lady herself, and she is not a little proud of them, as you will discover for yourself. When she comes through that door in precisely 2 seconds from now, see what...
Hell yeah, I remember Benny Hill. Motherfucker come on with the fucking circus music, chasing all the half-naked women around, yo. Yo, the intro to his show was funny as shit, yo. Benny Hill intro.
I saw.
I listened. If you suspect child abuse or neglect, call Childline, and trained professionals will listen and make referrals to investigative agencies to keep kids safe.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, bro. Yo, that shit was funny as shit, man. I'd buy that for $1. What the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Motherfuckers looking up women's skirts. Warrior. Yo, Benny Hill was some other shit, yo.
Esse aí sou eu. Dá pra notar que eu tenho que dar um jeito na minha vida.
Maybe I should have brought something to drink up this motherfucker now. I ate all that biscuit and bacon. I'm about dry as shit. Lucky me. Work right now. She downstairs, but she at work. She work from home. But she got work for a couple hours a day. Oh man. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot, bro. Oh, I keep forgetting I want to do that. My man's got some talent. God damn. I gotta hit up Lupe Fiasco, tell him I got this producer for you, man.
Mm-hmm.
today. So whatever you've got to do.
Right now, Honda doesn't sell a single fully electric vehicle in the U.S. But recently, Honda said they're officially breaking into the battery electric market. Not one, not two, but 30 electric vehicles globally by 2030. And 20 will be for the U.S. market. This means more competition for Tesla, Rivian, Lucid, and many other car makers that are already in the BEV space. Today, I'll explain why Honda changed its mind. We'll also look at how cars will move to subscription services. Soon, buying a car will no longer be just about buying a physical hardware car, but it'll be more about a platform with services that will enable you to connect to modern daily conveniences, all for a monthly subscription fee that never ends. We'll also touch on Honda's new initiatives to make electric motorcycles and e-scooters. If I asked you to name the top EV company today, Honda wouldn't even be on your list. That's because at the moment, Honda only sells one electric vehicle, the Honda E, which is a subcompact car that's only sold in Japan and Europe. Actually, a lot of people criticize Honda for not embracing EV technology earlier, but they're not entirely correct. In the past, Honda, like Toyota, preferred to invest in hydrogen fuel cell vehicles as a clean, zero-emission option. So how successful or mainstream is hydrogen? Well, today, there are some 8,000 hydrogen-powered cars in the U.S., or between 30,000 to 35,000 on the road globally. Compare that to 10 million plus fully electric EVs already on the road worldwide. So you can see where the money is. Analysis expect an additional 2 million more EVs to be added this year alone. But the numbers aren't the only things working against hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Hydrogen fuel cell vehicles first started in 1966 with GM's Electrovan. Yet, despite more than half a century of development, hydrogen fuel cell cars are still expensive to produce. You can only find them in a few countries or regions that have built hydrogen fueling stations. Part of the reason for low hydrogen sales in America is because of the lack of infrastructure network. Unless you live in California, you pretty much can't drive a hydrogen car. That's because California is currently the only state in the U.S. with a hydrogen fueling network. Once you leave the state, you're stuck. But what about battery electric vehicles? In the 12 years that we've had the modern electric vehicle, 1.3 million battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles have been sold here in the U.S. You can see it's quite a stark difference. Honda's always tried their best to stay true to their climate-forward slogan, Blue Skies for our children. But right now, they realize the best option for Blue Skies is to embrace fully electric cars. And now that the combustion engine ban will be happening in the States and in many other countries, you can see why fully electric vehicles have become critical for Honda. Did you know that Honda pledged $40 billion towards electrification and software technologies over the next 10 years? But remember, technically, electrification doesn't mean they'll make all their cars battery electric. Rather, it means all vehicles will have an electric motor of some sort somewhere in the drivetrain. Most likely, Honda will be investing a large chunk of their $40 billion in conventional hybrid vehicles and plug-in hybrid models as well. The recent $40 billion pledge and plan to roll out 30 unique electric vehicles globally equates to about 2 million cars. Of these 30 future EVs, 2 will be electric sports vehicles. One is expected to succeed the Acura NSX that recently departed the market. The bulk of these new EVs will mainly be crossovers, which makes a lot of sense, given how popular crossovers are in America. Did you know that Honda has raised some $343 million into developing their own line of solid-state batteries? And they plan to bring these batteries to their new BEVs in the second half of the decade. For now, though, they will be relying on lithium-ion batteries to power their upcoming EVs. Now, Honda didn't specify the actual underlying technologies for all these EVs, but Honda did note they'll expand the use of the Honda E architecture that they use in their current Hondas. Honda also shifting their business model. They plan to focus on hardware and software both. Right now, the core business is selling non-recurring hardware, which is pretty much car units, but they'll shift into offering after-sales services from software-based features. Take, for example, safety and navigation features. Today, you get most of these features as a part of the car. There's no extra cost. But with Honda's new plan, you'll pay for these features probably monthly or yearly. But Honda isn't the only automaker with this idea. Pretty much every other automaker you can think of is exploring this concept. You can think of it like a monthly car subscription service for add-on features. These fees will be to support things like content, services, and upgrades. Take GM, for example. They believe it'll generate $25 billion in revenue annually by 2030, purely on software and subscription services alone. That's not even including revenue from actual sales of cars themselves. Just look at your smartphone. In the past, we just bought a mobile phone, you'd only pay for cellular service. But today, we have 1 million apps on our phones, each operating different services. Many of these apps offer optional services for a monthly subscription fee. So now all you need is a smartphone to manage your home security system, operate your robot robot vacuum and track your weight and diet progress and so forth. This is how the smartphone became more than just telephone hardware. And that's exactly how car makers are viewing cars. It's no longer about selling one car, which is just hardware. Cars are now computers of their own. And this is just the beginning of many services we'll be able to do right from our car's touchscreen. Stellantis believes software and subscription services will allow car companies to enjoy the type of operating margins closer to that of high-tech corporations. For example, Stellantis is exploring the possibility of offering services through tech platforms they're launching in 2024. Right now, they've dubbed it STLA Brain, STLA Smart Cockpit, and STLA Auto Drive. That's why Honda's taking this course long term. To reach that goal, first, Honda will launch smaller-scale EVs in Japan, like the Kei class. These are basically mini cars. While they aren't very popular in the U.S., mini cars are massively popular in Japan. The first new EV released in Japan will be a mini EV for commercial use, most likely a Kei van. Price? Just around 1 million Japanese yen, which is around $8,000 US. After the Kei minivan, a variety of other models for personal use should follow, likely including mini SUVs. In China, Honda will introduce 10 new EV models by 2027. That's just 5 years from now. It's very interesting because not many people know this, but China is by far the world's leading EV market today. So it's a ripe market and huge opportunity for Honda. These 10 new models will be built at dedicated Honda plants in Guangzhou and Wuhan. Another interesting thing is that Honda's press release didn't even mention the European market. Given the population of China, I guess they're going for the big fish. So here's the big thing. Right now, Honda and GM plan to work together to develop a series of affordable EVs based on a new global platform. The purpose of this joint platform is to beat Tesla. Basically, in this joint venture, they'll use GM's next-generation Ultium battery technology, and they want to offer flexible battery architecture, outstanding power, range, and performance. From luxury and performance cars to daily commutes, SUVs, and pickups, the goal of the Ultium platform is to power EVs of every type and at every single price point. Together, Honda and GM are expected to produce millions of lower-priced EVs starting 2027. These new cars will include compact crossover EVs, and they'll be sending some of these across the continents. In a recent statement, they said that they will share their best technology design and manufacturing strategies to deliver affordable and desirable EVs on a global scale. And that would especially include the key markets in North and South America and China. In a way, this is smart. Look, right now, EVs are expensive and most consumers know this. That's why EVs made in the joint Honda-GM partnership are expected to be priced below 30 grand.
Great coverage in 5 minutes? Sounds explosive. New One Twist hair color. Takes just 5 minutes.
Your mission, stand up to moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis and take it on.
Aside from external factors that drive up prices, the goal is to return to the days when cars were affordable and mainstream. So far, no financial terms of the new partnership has been disclosed. But the car makers have said they will be discussing future EV battery technology collaboration and opportunities down the line. One of the goals of collaboration is to drive down the cost of electrification, improve performance, and drive sustainability. Now, whether these new EVs will be based on Honda's architecture or on GM's platform is yet to be decided. But the two companies have agreed to share the bill for manufacturing costs, and the cars will potentially be produced at either GM or Honda plants. GM made a bold statement. They want to sell more EVs in the U.S. than anyone else by the middle of the decade. But to do that, they'll need a large portfolio of vehicles, and so partnering with Honda will help them reach their goals as fast as possible. Actually, did you know that Honda and GM have been friends for years? Honda previously invested $750 million in GM's Cruise Autonomous Vehicle Unit, and now Honda and GM are co-developing the Cruise Origin Autonomous EV. The companies also have a joint venture to develop and produce hydrogen fuel cell systems. Plan to do this at a plant in Brownstone, Michigan. But that's not all. GM will be producing 2 EVs for Honda for the 2024 model year. Honda announced that one of these electric SUVs, called the Prologue, will be their first dedicated battery electric vehicle coming to the U.S. GM isn't the only large company that Honda's partnering with. Honda's also teaming up with tech giant Sony. They'll be creating a completely new brand together. In a joint statement, they said that their goal is to create this new EV company within the year. And this company will sell its first EV model by 2025. This new company is yet to be named. Some speculate it should be called Sonda or Honi or some other mashup. But we'll have to wait and see. Besides finding a marketable name, they also have to figure out the development, design, planning, and sales aspect of their brand. Honda will take on the responsibility for manufacturing the new EVs at Honda facilities. And Sony will most likely be responsible for building the platform for mobility services. At the helm, the chairman of CEO will be Yasuhide Mizuno, a longtime Honda executive. This is exciting because the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. 2 years ago, Sony first debuted a concept car at CES, the Consumer Electronics Electronics Show. This concept car conveyed the Vision S concept, which is an EV with a variety of sensors and other innovative technologies. At that time, Sony said this concept car was built to test autonomous vehicle technology. Then this year, Sony returned to CES with the Vision S02 SUV concept. With this SUV, they announced that they would form a business this year to put the car into production. The Vision S02 was presented as an all-wheel drive setup that output 536 horsepower. Pretty much that's all we know. The mid-size SUV will compete with the Chevrolet Equinox EV Polestar 3 and the Ford Mustang Mach-E. The new Honda Sony EV is expected to hit the market in 2025. With Honda's pledge to eventually be 100% electric, would it surprise you to hear what it means for their motorcycles? Look, Honda is a brand known for its motorcycles. It's the world's leader. Last year, they announced 4 electric motorcycles to debut in a few years. Last quarter, they released the CRF E2, the first production electric dirt bike with lithium-ion battery. They're not actually making the bike, though. Actually, they licensed to another company called Greener Power Sports. They have a kids version and an adults version. And then there's Streamo. This is Honda's newest micro-mobility venture to develop an electric scooter or e-scooter for urbanites. Most city dwellers are already familiar with the growing hype, and we can see more electric scooters passing by cover short distances across the city. Well, now Honda's in the game, so you can see how Honda as a whole is moving forward with electrification across all its businesses. But now you tell me, if you could name the new Honda Sony company, what would you name it? Do you think Honda Sony venture can even beat Tesla? Please share your opinion by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.
No, don't skip me. I'm on a mission to tell you VisionWorks makes it simple to change your mind about your glasses for up to 100 days. Okay, skip me. Still here.
Rev up your engine! Okay, this man just bought this used RV. 136,000 miles? Should you buy a used RV or not? Now, to begin with, he paid about $45, so he paid less than half of what it originally cost. Realize, with the coronavirus pandemic still floating around, the prices of used ones are even somewhat higher than they used to be. I used to be able to pick them up in Houston for less than 1/3 of their original cost like this. So the prices are up, but still, you're saving over 45 grand buying a used one. We're going to check the whole thing out, but as you start out, you can see it's based on an East 450 Super Duty Ford, and it is rather large, 30 feet long, and it's got a tow hitch on it. He's going to pull this thing on a minivan for driving around because good luck parking this giant thing in a small parking space when you're on vacation. Now, prices are coming down on gasoline a little, but still, to fill this thing up from empty, it's going to be over $200 because the prices are coming down. It was higher before. Realize, it's a gasoline engine, and the max you're going to get is 8 to 10 miles a gallon. They're big, heavy vehicles. Understand that. Now, granted, they hold a lot. He brought his 5 kids. They're down the street doing something. You can fit a lot of people in one of these things. Now, they're better than they used to be, because when I was a kid, our postman, Dickie, in Lewiston, New York, who came to our Texaco Corner gas station when I was a kid, he bought one and didn't know anything about the bad gas mileage. And in those days, they only had 4-barrel carburetors on it. And he went to the Algonquin Forest in Canada, and when he came back, he put a for sale sign on it because he only averaged 3.5 miles a gallon. Because in those days, they just had simple carburetors that got worse gas mileage. This is fuel-injected engine. We'll look at it under the hood. It's a 6.8-liter V10 engine. With the mileage this one has on it, doesn't burn any oil. They're pretty solid, reliable engines. Just understand, you're going to get that kind of gas mileage because of the weight, and it's a gasoline engine. A lot of guys prefer diesel, but of course, here's the problem with that. The price of diesel fuel now is so high that you get better gas mileage. But I figured it out for a guy, and he was actually losing out because the little bit better gas mileage he got was more than offset by the $1 something a gallon more than the diesel fuel was. So you have to take that into consideration too. Just realize these things are going to use a lot of fuel regardless of what system you have in it. But if you're really serious, say you're going to be one of these people that live in these things and then travel around like some of those older people do, you're better off with a diesel then because they've got less maintenance, they will get better mileage, and they can sit and idle all day long because they're diesels and hardly use any fuel at all. Say you want to idle them and you want to run the AC and everything, you can do that better with a diesel. So, get my scan tool, we'll do a little testing here. Pretty simple to get to, regular Ford diagnostic stuff, and this still has that regular key. We'll turn it on, And while we're waiting for this thing to boot up, check out the space in this thing. There's a lot of room in this thing. And we'll do diagnose. Now, there's just one abnormality in the power control module. Air conditioning clutch relay control circuit. Now, the owner just told me that every once in a while the AC won't work and turn it on and off, then it'll work again. So, he's probably got a bad AC relay. I told him, go to the Ford dealer and get one. That's the only code. Now, while I'm sitting here, there's the rear view mirror. Okay, that's what's happening behind us. But, hey, wait a second. You look at this. This goes in the back of the bed. Okay, it's electronic, and that makes a big deal of difference. You can actually see behind your back on one of these things up.
You look like the kind of person that likes to spice it up in the bedroom, and if so, I have the perfect recommendation for you. Bluetooth off.
I hate it backing up when you can't see. Now, you got this to see, so you can see back through the mirror, but really, it's also got giant mirrors on the left and giant mirrors on the right. A lot easier to drive than the old one. So let's start her up. We got 288 bits of data stream. See if anything is weird looking. Very important bit of data here. Camshaft position sensor and crankshaft position sensor synchronized. Yes, they're synchronized. If the engine was worn, and the chain, it's got a chain in this engine, was worn, it's not going to sync right. Now, you might worry about that because the vehicle has 136,974 miles on it. This is one of those Cruise America jobs. People who rented these things, all they did was cruise around. You don't buy one of these and drive and stop and go traffic all the time, right? So most of that is highway miles. Highway miles are equivalent to about 10% wear compared to city stop and go. You're generally going to find these with higher mileage. Doesn't mean they're worn out. This proves this isn't worn out. No engine misfire, equivalence ratio. It's almost perfect. It's perfect now 1, and it's 0.99. That's almost perfect. Fuel injectors, do they have faults? No error, no error, no error, no error. So we gotta look at them all. I'll go to the next page. No error, no error, no error, no error. They don't have any problems with the fuel injection system either. Short-term fuel trim, both bank 1 and bank 2. It's adding a tiny bit of fuel, 1.56, 3%, moves around a little. But I do find this to be a problem with a lot of these RVs because they spend a lot of time sitting. Now, they drive a lot, but they also spend a lot of time sitting. Many times the injectors get a little bit clogged, so you get some good fuel injection cleaner. Clean them up every once in a while. This thing's running fine, but you often have to do this because these often sit for extended periods of time. So the data here shows good. Now, this guy was sharp. He went all the way from Kentucky to Florida to buy this thing. He hired a mechanic there who did a lubricant analysis of both the transmission and gasoline engine and the coolant. This guy was smart. He didn't take any chances. He covered all bases and passed them all with flying colors. It's a lot of work to do, but then again, he's saving more than half of what a new one of these things costs. Now, this has immense exterior storage. You open it up, look at all the space you have. I can almost fit my motorcycle in there. And yes, it has a giant spare tire, a real one. More storage space. You want storage space? Hey, this certainly has it. Now we'll go inside, which is the main reason people buy these things. And, hey, a nice little table for eating on. Look at the view. Of course, there's air conditioning. You can hook it up to an external, or we can turn the generator on. Just push a button. Now the generator's running. Now you might wonder, how long can you run the AC? Well, guess what? It's running off the gas tank of the vehicle, and that's a 55-gallon gas tank. So, of course, he ran it 8 hours straight, had no problems with it running out of fuel. This isn't like you got a little Honda generator in the back with 3, maybe a 5-gallon max tank. This is just the 55 gallons on the vehicle. So, if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, you can run your own AC, but, of course, if you're buying any kind of RV place, you can just plug it in there, run it off of their power. Okay, now we have the master bedroom. Hey, this is a master bedroom. You don't feel cramped. You got all kinds of space for storing stuff. Man, this thing's comfortable. If I could only get my wife to drive it around while I was resting, then the world would be perfect. So I moved from the bedroom into the bathroom, a sink, a real toilet, got a nice vent. Mosquitoes aren't getting in. It's got mosquito netting. And across the hall is a real shower. Now, if you look around in this model, there's room. I've been in some of these, they're cramped. I would not feel comfortable. This thing, really, it is comfortable. There's an awful lot of room in here. I gotta say, this would be a comfortable thing to travel around in. And he was smart. He didn't get a slide out. You see a lot of them in the pictures that the side slides out because those have problems up the wazoo. Sticking, leaking in the rain, you name it. You really want one like this that's big to begin with and use the space that you have. I mean, you want to buy an awning, bring one and then just put it in the storage and hook it up wherever you go, you know? I would not add it. Well, you can see the guy's got brains. He spent all the money having the oil analyzed, too. He got something that, you know they get bad gas mileage. He knows that. He paid less than half of what a new one costs. He knows that, but this thing still got tons of life in it. Now, he installed his own flat screen TV. You can add whatever you want on these things. Basically, they've got a lot of power applications. The power here, generator, plug-in power. You can be set up for anything. This turns into a bed. 2 kids can sleep up here. This turns into a bed. And the parents get the master bedroom, just like when I was a kid. Now, realize one thing. He did spend $850 for the full analysis of it. Those guys with the oil analysis, transmission analysis, the engine analysis, they did a good job. They told them the truth. And if you're going to spend something like $45,000 on a used vehicle, it's not that bad of an idea, because then you know what you're getting into. He knew before he went to Florida, he paid the guy to do the check, that it's not a junker, he's not wasting his time flying down to Florida and driving the thing back. He knew that it already was a good deal, and then he wanted to see it physical himself, and he found out that indeed it was. And realize that 850 inspection included everything. Checking for leaks, soft spots, going through the electronics. And interestingly enough, he paid them $850, but they said it needs $850 worth of work, including changing the coolant, which Cruise America did. So, in reality, it only cost them $50. I've seen this happen numerous times. Hey, when I bought a house in Rhode Island, guy told me, hey, you need all these repairs. So, I said, knock $5,000 off the price of the house, and they did. It cost me $500 to get it inspected, but I got $4,500 back out of that, so not a bad deal. So if you're looking to RV, now you know how to save a bunch of money buying a used one the right way. And he recently rented it out a couple of times and made $5,000 on that, so maybe not such a bad idea. If you go used, get some of your money back. You're not going to be using it all the time anyway. Just make sure you got good insurance, though, if you're renting it out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.
I'm Steven.
I'm Lucy.
And a time for Bob Lazar.
Yes. Yes.
But maybe not for Donald Trump.
No, that's different. Because Bob Lazar, what he's talking about, like, I wanted to know, with the Bob Lazar thing, I wanted to know, first of all, I want to be around him and see if I could smell bullshit.
Did you? Like,
no.
Okay.
No, I didn't, man. That was what's weird about it. Not only did I not smell bullshit, I went over all of his interviews. He hasn't done a lot, but he's done enough. Done them over the course of 30 plus years. And alarming how consistent his story is. Which is really weird when you think about, you're talking about back engineering alien crafts and working on a top secret government test site that's carved into the side of a mountain and to camouflage it from satellites. It's such a wacky story. But the guy really did work at Los Alamos Labs. He really is a propulsions expert. He really is a scientist. They work on back engineering UFOs. I don't know. But the way he described their motion is exactly like what's been observed by some of these pilots that have these videos that they've captured.
And I just love that, like, NASA, I've been hearing from a bunch of folks who they're legitimately, like, funding research, and there's people really taking this seriously of UFO sightings, investigating them.
Yeah.
Like, adding more and more sensors to collect data from just observing at higher definitions. It's cool to finally see that. And he was one of the early people, whether he's full of shit or not, that kind of forced people to start taking these topics seriously.
Or at least force people to have conversations about them and maybe attempt to debunk them because it seems so preposterous, but then get sucked down the rabbit hole and start going, maybe. We're fucking... It's, the thing is, like the Fermi paradox, like, where are they, right? And when you take into account just the sheer raw numbers, the vast majority of people objectively assume that there is life out there. Vast majority. Well, if you really take into account what we understand about the universe itself, what we understand about the concept of infinity. And the way Neil deGrasse Tyson has explained it to me is that not only are there life forms out there, but there's you. You are out there. Infinity is so large that Lex Friedman exists, and doesn't just exist, but exists an infinite number of times. Like the amount of interactions that cells and molecules, the same exact interactions that have happened here on Earth have happened in the exact same order an infinite number of times in the cosmos.
I'm ex-CIA Officer Jason Hansen. Stick with me for just the next few moments because I'm about to tell you the shocking true story about this underground street fighter.
Hello everyone, it's me, Matthew, and welcome to What Happened, all you Brink fans! Yeah, it's your time to shine! It's finally time to hoist this kinda well-known FPS on our stage of shame, where we'll be uncovering the dramatic shifts in development that befell this multiplayer single-player hybrid, the engine problems the studio faced, and the unforeseen acts of God or Bethesda that destroyed any chance of the game reaching its full potential. Oh, wait, none of those things really happened. Yeah, the tale of Brink doesn't have nearly the dramatics, sudden swerves, or awful decisions as a lot of games we've covered in the past, but whose only real sin was having sky-high expectations and an insurmountable amount of hype that couldn't possibly be delivered upon. So we'll need to travel back to our favorite time period in the video game industry, the one with the most studio closures, dramatically raised budgets, and razor-thin profit margins. This is 2007, and the HD era of gaming was kicking off, or kicking down, whatever. Splash Damage is a London-based developer that have a particular set of skills, and that was making multiplayer suites for already existing projects. We're talking Return to Castle Wolfenstein, then Wolfenstein Enemy Territory, and finally Doom 3. So yeah, they were obviously id Software stans, something they didn't try to hide very much at all. Now, the thing about all these multiplayer modes is that they were all fantastic and basically kicked off the then newish practice of farming out your multiplayer mode to another developer, freeing up the original studio to focus on the campaign. An example being Grey Matter for Return to Castle Wolfenstein. But it was with 2007's Enemy Territory, Quake Wars, Splash Damage's first standalone release, where they really started to turn heads, despite the Quake franchise's wavering popularity with Quake 4. Quake Wars garnered fantastic reviews and even some awards, which was the poke in the bum for Bethesda to tap them for their first wholly original big-budget game. In fact, in 2008, both companies announced what was quoted as being a long-term partnership, with Brink being formally unveiled 12 months later. Pete Hines, the Shredder to Todd Howard's Krang, was interviewed in the Bethesda Technodrome about how this deal came about. You can look at what Splash Damage is doing and say, by God, I think they can pull it off. We should be talking to them and working with them on this, and we are. If I didn't already write the script and know what was coming up, here. I hope everything goes okay. The formal announcement, Brink was pegged as a spring 2010 release, and with Bethesda fast becoming one of the biggest new third-party publishers with your Fallouts and your Elder Scrolls' combined with Splash Damage's pedigree, it was already being positioned as the next big FPS. It focused on the conflict between two warring factions, and a third more mysterious one that was never really expanded upon, with its mandate being to blur the line between online and offline play, which at this point, with Call of Duty and its many imitators flooding the multiplayer space, was shooting for something different that people would hopefully take notice of. Along with all this building hype, Splash Damage also made an important hire, one Richard Ham, that some people might remember from our award-winning Bubsy 3D episode. I'm still proud of Bubsy 3D. At the time, the young kids in their 20s writing reviews for magazines didn't have any idea what it took to make games. To them, their responses were justified. To us, it was bullshit, and Bubsy deserved better. Today, things are even more cutthroat, so personally, I'm out. I'm done with that shit. So yeah, that quote was given after Richard Ham's creative director duties on Brink were done. And yes, he was a lead on Bubsy 3D, but he filled a similar role in the Siphon Filter games, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, and just prior to Brink, had a prominent role on Fable 2. So, you know, there's that. His curmudgeonness was probably due to some of the lukewarm reviews that Brink posted at launch, which were probably made more potent by not one but several delays the game suffered. The first being from that initial spring of 2010 to the following autumn. That's a product that we believe is a genre breaker. It's a real killer app. From a quality perspective, we're pitching that along the same lines as Fallout 3, which is how Bethesda's European marketing director decided to frame it.
Are they insane?
Now, while he clearly just says quality, Brink is a very, very different beast from Fallout 3, even if you're just trying to compare their theoretical Metacritics, as Bethesda likes to do. So, up to that point, the house that Todd built were almost exclusively putting out big story-driven games, which gave the impression to some that Brink would follow suit. Also, hey, marketing directors, please don't use the terms killer app unless you're Tron, and certainly don't fucking say shite like genre breaker. Anyway, later that same balmy summer of 2010, word came down that the game would then slip to 2011 with no real reasoning coming from either Bethesda or Splash Damage, other than just simply confirming it. This would now place Brink 12 months after its initial target release date, further increasing the anticipation, which would surely be worth the wait. Now, because of the tone I just used in that sentence, yeah, that wasn't exactly true. Brink had several issues at launch, which isn't a surprise given all the new things it was attempting, but nonetheless, reviewers noticed them. Paul Wedgwood, Splash Damage's former CEO and founder, humbly explains where he believes they faltered. It was our first console game. There were a lot of things to take on. We ported id Tech 4 to PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, which it didn't exist on at all, with some help from id, of course, so we just bit off too much, really. We didn't test it thoroughly enough before the release, and there were 3 fundamental problems. It had some issues with lag on day 1 of the release, then there were texture load-in problems, and finally some AI problems as well. They were all sitting there in a day 1 patch, but we just couldn't get people to re-review it after the initial release. If we could delete those first 7 or 8 reviews, we'd be at 90 or something, but it was too late, so lesson learned. Yes, upon release, Brink did get some fairly average reviews from well-known publications, citing the problems above. What's more is that the game, from a narrative, character, and storyline perspective, was not exactly what some fans wanted, especially when coming from Bethesda. It didn't really put the characters front and center like, Bethesda's Rogue Warrior did.
What took you motherfuckers so long?
It also didn't really push the story into the spotlight, but focused on the moment-to-moment gameplay with narrative crumbs sprinkled throughout via dialogue, rather than a glut of cutscenes. Nowadays, people are more accustomed to that style with things like, say, Destiny or Overwatch, but in 2011 it was jarring, and made the game feel a bit lighter, with some feeling that it had a smaller scope because of it. Lead designer on Brink, Neil Alfonso, also gave his 2 cents on the game's reaction action and legacy. People reacted differently to the way we approached our narrative. Some would say there's no story to speak of, which I would beg to differ with. But some loved the setting and the context we'd given the action. There's a lot there for people to read into, but we didn't spoon-feed it to people, which is maybe what some fans were looking for. When the game is viewed as a highly contextualized multiplayer experience, it does really well. But if you view it as a single-player cinematic experience, yeah, it doesn't really hold up. One of the other aspects that didn't really hold up was Brink's reliance on in-game dialogue to drive the narrative, which is a problem considering the many lines that got repeated too often. Now, when you're playing an isolated multiplayer mode in a game with a separate campaign, you might hear the same few lines of dialogue here and there. Things like, I need help, man down, flank 'em, and etc. But in Brink, well, you'd hear those the entire game. Brink's lead writer, Ed Stern, explains. Do not leave writing to the actors. Write out all the alternate lines no matter how stupid you feel. I felt really dumb writing a script that said, medic, medic, need a medic here. Need a medic. Really do need a medic. Medic here now, I need. I just really felt stupid doing that. So I thought we'd write some basic ones down and then get the actors to do their own variations. That was an absolute mistake. Stern also revealed that when they needed to start inserting said lines into the game, Splash Damage were scrambling to finish, and there weren't enough coders and testers to make sure all that repetitive dialogue wasn't too repetitive. In the end, though, he laments that the issue came down to him ultimately. That's my fault. That's nothing on the coding. I should have written more varied lines. The core game itself was a whole different story. While some felt it was exciting and a breath of fresh air, Brink's gameplay loop could have used more polish and focused testing about what worked and what needed more work. Paul Wedgwood again breaks it down. Brink tried to be something new and different in several areas, and in hindsight, we perhaps strayed away from convention a bit too much in some areas. Now, since you were always teamed with AI bots in single player, when objectives would dynamically appear, the bots would make their own decisions, as the player could not control them, directly or indirectly. This was necessary to get the bots to use the levels properly. Adjusting them dynamically created a rhythm that matched the multiplayer in a single-player game. But it kind of makes the AI seem stupid sometimes, because they won't just go for the objective as much as they can at the very beginning. The way the game worked, it sometimes meant the player could play poorly and win. Like, literally at some points, they could sit in the spawn area and their team would go on and win. Or you could kick absolute ass and still lose. The thing is, even with all these problems, Brink really didn't capture gamers' imaginations through the characters or the narrative, something most hero-based products do nowadays. Conversely, there was never much to do in the game once you hit the level cap, and there was only one significant DLC pack ever released, Agents of Change, but it released the same year as launch. Now, despite this drying up of support, with many players dropping Brink within months or even weeks, it was still a success for Bethesda and Splash Damage, even if it wasn't enough to spur a sequel. Paul Wedgeworth commented on this. I was walking out on stage and signing autographs for thousands of people at a time. It was a crazy time, the weirdest experience. But it's bullshit. It's not you that's made the game, it's the team that's made the game. And it's the team that's responsible for the success of it. And Brink was a commercial success. It sold 2.5 million units. It generated over $100 million at retail, and it was our 5th sequential #1. Which wasn't bad, but it wasn't a critical success. We really missed the mark with the initial release, and that frustrated us a lot. Therefore, after Brink, Splash Damage immediately went back to providing multiplayer modes for other titles, such as Batman Arkham Origins, which I didn't even know had a multiplayer mode until I just said it. They then followed up with Dirty Bomb, another multiplayer-focused FPS, which was initially published by Nexon in 2015, but much like Brink, it failed to make any sort of impact, with a 2019 player base about where you'd expect it. Nexon eventually threw threw the Dirty Bomb rights back at Splash Damage, but not before they were then wholly purchased by Lei Yu, the same Chinese company that owns Digital Extremes, in 2016. Along the way, Splash has contributed to the multiplayer modes of both Gears 4 and 5, and are currently plugging away at Gears Tactics, which I also just remembered is a product you may or may not be able to buy at some point in the future. Going back one final time to Brink, almost 7 years after its release, Bethesda announced it was going free to play. This is like finding out that, I don't know, Gladiator Sword of Vengeance got an HD remaster on Steam. Which it did. So yes, Bethesda announcing for some reason that a 7-year-old game that has no microtransactions is now free, so they can't even make money on it. Who are you and what have you done to Bethesda? I mean, the original DLC pack still costs some money, yeah, but this is just, it's something. It occurred, I guess. In summation, much like games that we've covered before, such as Kingdoms of Amalur or L.A. Noire, there was no real fan backlash to Brink. It didn't receive terrible reviews, it sold well, and outside some aspects that needed more polish and maybe trying things that were a bit too ahead of their time, the game had no real debilitating problems or scandals. And like stated before, Splash Damage is still alive and well, which it's a nice change of pace for this show because it's really rare that a developer that worked with Bethesda was able to pull themselves back from the brink of closure. If you want to throw another stinky suggestion into our squared circle, let me know in the comments below or parkour your way to the Flophouse VIP Patreon to officially vote on our next subject. See you next time, and thanks for watching.
Your balls thanked you yet? Save 20% off on all Manscaped products during their summer sale, like the Platinum Package 4.0.
Which basically gives you the works.
It has the Lawn Mower 4.0 trimmer.
This trimmer features skin-safe technology to help reduce the risk of nicking cuts
in your sensitive areas.
If your cuts is waterproof, you can trim the field, rain or shine.
So you can have a smooth and comfortable grooming experience wherever.
I'm definitely going to be using this twice a week during the summer.
These balls are so smooth. Brought to you by Manscaped.
Also in this pack is the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer with a 360-degree blade.
Probably should be doing this for the dinner table.
Classic misunderstanding.
Dude, are you wearing ball deodorant?
Yeah.
The Manscaped Crop Preserver is an
Welcome once again to another rootin' tootin' nectar snootin' episode of What Happened, the show where we break down the befuddling buffoonery of the entertainment industry. I struggled to think of a way to properly introduce this week's episode, but I believe I've found it. A milestone quote for the ages that should be preserved for all time. Yes, friends and well-wishers, today we are pointing our crosshairs directly at the game that helped kill one of the most important developers of console shooters, Free Radical. Today, we are going to be sifting through the gaseous yellow-tinted disaster known as Haze. For those who may be unfamiliar with them, and you'd be excused from doing so since they haven't really released a game since 2008, Free Radical was a British developer composed of former Rare employees that had worked on both 007 GoldenEye and Perfect Dark. Upon the completion of the latter, they broke away from Rare's somewhat restrictive development style and then formed Free Radical and the much-loved Time Splitters franchise. But it was the advent of the 7th generation of consoles and HD gaming, a notoriously rough time for many developers to stay afloat during, that proved to be equally inhospitable to a team that was behind some legendary shooters. Having shacked up with various publishers such as Eidos, Codemasters, and EA, it was logical for the lads and ladies of Free Radical to team with a publisher that was actually on the rise during this rough transitional period in gaming. Ubisoft was swinging into high with such hits as Assassin's Creed and the Tom Clancy series, and looked to diversify their portfolio. This seemed like a smart move, escaping the greasy claws of EA, who had published the last Timesplitters game, and into the more loving embrace of a much more international company in Ubisoft. It didn't take long, however, before that loving embrace turned into a crushing chokehold. Before Ubi entered the picture, however, Free Radical knew they wanted to enter this cutting-edge landscape of the gaming industry with a bang, and were prototyping something that was going to be firmly planted in their FPS roots. Their bread and butter, or their bangers and mash. You know, 'cause they're British! One of the studio founders, Steve Ellis, who also happened to have produced and or directed lots of their prior shooters, reminisced in an interview with Engadget. We were transitioning to new consoles, and we wanted to do something that would make good use of all the power those machines could bring. Now, to do this, Free Radical felt they needed to ditch their old engine, which had powered the Timesplitters games, as it was outdated tech that went all the way back to the launch of the PS2. But as many smaller developers came to know, developing on new hardware in the early days of this generation was fraught with an incalculable number of pitfalls. Pretty much everything turned out to be harder than we expected. The AI system, although great in theory, wasn't living up to our hopes, and creating the new engine required a lot more time and effort than we had in the schedule. The problem was that by the time we realized all this, we'd already signed a contract to deliver a particular game at a particular point in time. Yes, just as Free Radical started to encounter the headaches and heartbreaks of working on next-gen technology, they had already signed up with Ubisoft on the project, an ambitious first-person shooter that focused on the horrors of war waged by a crack team of supercharged soldiers, and officially dubbed Haze. This moniker was bestowed due to Nectar, an augmentative compound the soldiers would down, which would then affect gameplay and double as a narrative device.
I turned your Nectar gauge down a notch or two so you could see a little slice of reality, sir.
Sure, it'll make you fight faster and shrug off damage, but also trigger hallucinations and cause you to disconnect from reality. This was the main gameplay hook, but a piece of software such as this would have many other facets that needed to be ironed out, which was something of a constant struggle all throughout development, as the whole thing was greenlit incredibly fast and had an accelerated release date. Derek Littlewood, the creative director on the project, recalled, "We didn't have the luxury of developing the new engine and tools chain to completion before rolling them out for the development team. We had an aggressive early schedule for Haze, all of which meant that development had to start in earnest using still immature technology." Haze was first announced in 2006 and was scheduled to come out the following year, which, if you look at Free Radical's body of work, left very little breathing room. Their last game, Timesplitters Future Perfect, hit store shelves in 2005, leaving them initially to build the next-gen shooter from scratch in just 2 years. Regardless of this, the hype machine kicked in nice and early, touting the legendary team behind iconic console shooters was a more realistic, hardcore fare, since most of their previous work had a lighter, cartoony-like aesthetic.
I'm hurrying!
And very more quickly, the term Halo Killer started being thrown around by the press, and Ubisoft seemingly encouraged such comparisons. Comparison most Free Radical staff disagreed with, from a variety of standpoints. They knew that Bungie, at that point on their third Halo game, would be an incredibly unfair measuring stick to stack up to, since Haze was still struggling with basic technology.
Ain't shit changed, the same old thing. Chilling in the studio, bro. About to take a little break. We're right at 3 hours. It's not bad. You know what I'm saying? A little 3 hours. I'll probably try to do some chores and shit real quick. not too much, you know what I'm saying? So I got some studio time in. I do a little bit of chores, and then I won't feel so bad about playing video games, you know? Then it's Sunday, so there's a good chance I might be back up in here later today. Try to work on this hand a little bit more. And you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yo, appreciate y'all checking in on me. Fucking with your boy in the studio. I'll get with y'all next time. Peace.